Art students, welcome back to part two. I'm not going to even call it part two. This is the next section of what we're doing. And this is act one, scene one, and this is we're driving the car. And for those of you who have just tuned into this one, I'm starting a new series, and this is going to be about how to draw scenes. You know, whatever scene it may come to your head, whether some people are walking in the park, or whether you're running from fire, or whether you're eating, just simple scenes, the scenes that are in between the big action scenes. Everybody wants to draw the superhero, oh, powerful and buff, but nobody wants to draw, the part where he's brushing his teeth or using the bathroom or reaching down to pick up the cell phone. Those are the little things that are just as important as those major scenes when the guy throws a punch or the explosion or whatever. So I want to show you guys how to do these little scenes and put as much action into it to where the viewer can see and understand what's going on without having any words in it. So the words will just solidify the scene. In the last video, I did this guy right here. Now you can look at this guy, the posture, and you know that something's wrong with him versus this guy's posture right there. And then I had some dripping down from his mouth. It could be spit, it could be blood, whatever. So, but if I did a caption, oh, those guys really beat me bad, then you're like, oh yeah, this guy just got beat up, and this guy, like, caption over here is like, I'm a superhero, or I'm king of the world, or, nobody can handle me, that just adds a little more spice to the pudding. Spice to the pudding, Brian? I don't know, it just came out that way. So in this series, I'm going to show you guys how to do scenes, just little scenes each week, pretty much. I'm going to just have a little scene like climbing up a ladder. When's the last time you drew somebody climbing up a ladder? Okay, or walking down the stairs. Just little things. So right now we're doing driving a car. And we're going to put body language, facial expressions, hand gestures, all of that in there to make that side scene just as good as the main scene. So when you decide to draw something, people will be like, wow, that's really good. I mean, it's really, a small scene, but it's still really good. So go back to the last video and check out the start of it all, and then you can catch up. So we're drawing somebody driving, but he's gonna have a conversation, whether it be on his phone or whether it's gonna be a second person in the car with him. So I put the pillar on it, so it'll be like the camera's on the outside of the car. If I erase all of that, you'll see him just on the inside of the car. But I think I'm gonna put a second person, because you got to put a second seat in there. So I drew that a little short, and this was the box itself. This was the box itself for the scene. So if I put a second seat in there, it would be like over here. So you were doing perspective now. We're just doing the box. This is one reason I did the box the first time, is because this is what most of everything is derived from, the square shape. So if I did this, I put the seat here, and this is him in the car by himself, So it would be like that. And then if I went to the back seat, I would have like the door, maybe there's a pillar right here. If it's a 4-door, and the back seat would be across the window. And as I said in the last video, it's best to get a reference. Any kind of reference you can. If you can find something online in the best position for you to draw, or the easiest position for you to draw, the right position you need to make it easy for you to draw, it's best to do that. If not, try to find or buy a reference for what you have. I mean, if I'm drawing a Corvette, this is still good. I can still use this car, because I could say, I don't want this, I'm trying to get it in the camera, this boring angle. I want more of this angle, which looks good, or this type of angle somewhere, which looks good too. So I can use that and then draw the basic shape, then look at a picture of a Corvette and then add the cuts and curves and so forth to it. So spend money on yourself. Stop buying those expensive shoes and watches and all that stuff that you think it takes to show off, and put money into yourself. If you have a birthday coming up or anniversary or whatever, and somebody's going to buy you something, say, hey, look, I really want this tablet, or I really want this, particular thing, or I need some more paint or ink for my brushes, stuff like that. Put money into yourself. Spend money on yourself, or should I say invest in yourself. All right, so let's say, let me ink this guy. Let's say what, Brian? Let's say this is not quite the angle that I want. It's close, but it's not quite the angle because I need the other person that he's talking to. And every shape, everything is a shape. So you just add your shapes to it: circle, oval, cone, as I have been teaching over and over again. And as I say, everything that I have shown you up to this point in my learning to draw starts right here was leading up to this. I just rushed it. I skipped a couple things. I left off on the face. I was going to do more of the face, but I said, no, let me get to this because, as I said, did I say that in the last video, this video? It started to become a job to me. The drawing started to become a job to me, and I just started slacking off. And I wanted to get into this one real quick so it can bring that fire back, you know, because you should always do it because you love it, not do it and look at it as a job. Oh, I got to get paid for it. So, yeah. All right, so now let's take this and let's turn this around. Let's just say he's got somebody else in the car with him. Am I using dark pencil, light pencil? So how close am I going to get? I'm going to keep this in the shot. How close am I going to get to this guy? You know, what angle am I going to do? So that's the first thing you say whenever I draw a picture. How am I going to draw this picture? How is it going to be laid out? Am I going to be above him? Am I going to be below him? Am I going to be right there in his face with perspective? You know, using your perspective. So I'm going to give more of a 3/4, and then I'm going to more of a 3/4. And this is going to be the passenger. Passenger could be as tall if you do the line like this, and the passenger is up there. That passenger is just as tall. If you bring him down a little bit, it could be smaller, shorter, a woman, a child, or whatever. So let's just do this, and then I'm going to. So you kind of got your perspective line going already. You know you're going way, but you're going to go way off here somewhere. So you have your basic perspective line because it's a 3/4. Whenever you turn somebody. If I'm drawing somebody straight on like this, it's a straight shot. Okay, that's going to be a straight shot. I said I was going to use this more kind of shapes for the body. But if I turn him to the side, he's going to be more perspective. Okay, so using those shapes again. I hate drawing on the paper that I'm going to draw on. So I always use, people use the head. They say take the head out, but I like to use the shoulders myself for that perspective. And then you can come back and you have 1 foot there, 1 foot there. So basically perspective is going to be a triangle. I don't want to say all perspective, but all perspective is a triangle. Somehow perspective is a triangle. Well, come on, Brian. Pull it down so people can see. Let's use it back. And this is why I want to do this series, because I want to encompass everything that I showed you into this to draw your scenes. All perspective is a triangle. Okay, this is 1 point perspective going back. You know, 2 point perspective this way and this way. So it's a triangle. It's all a triangle. 3 point perspective, which is going to go down to that triangle again, and you just have your lines. And then your 3 point perspective. And I say I want to get into everything in detail as we go. Faces, hands, clothes, whatever, as we go, as we draw the scene. But in the beginning, I'm going to draw your basic scene so that anybody, any skill level can keep up. And then you can come back and say, okay, now I got my scene. So now I want to, because you don't have to draw muscles on the guy, you know, or the person. Because remember, this is the in-between scenes. This could be Batman in the Batmobile with the bat suit, or it could be just a guy going to work with a suit and tie on. So you don't need to draw the muscles. You just have to get the shapes right. This is this. How's his coat going to go around? How's the suit? I don't wear a suit. I haven't had a suit on in so long. Again, get your reference. Because a suit, all suits have these big shoulder pads. So the wrinkles somewhere different right here. So now you've got this guy. He's got a nice little, you know, $12,000 suit going to work in his whatever car it is. Who knows? If you want to draw the actual BMW steering wheel or the BMW seats or whatever. But you know, most people don't really look at it. But if you wanted to be detailed, then you say, okay, I will draw these BMW seats, because whoever sees it, if they have a BMW, they'll know, and they say, wow, this guy drew a real BMW. I mean, you know, he might not write to you or come to your house and knock on your door and say, man, you drew a BMW, that's nice, you know, but you might know that you did it. So, or you'll know that you put your all into that BMW that you drew that guy driving in. All right, so as I said, it's simple to draw when you have a good teacher. I'm not gonna say when you know how, just when you have a good teacher to show you. All right, so back to this. What we're doing, okay, so we're going to do the 3/4 view of the people. Remember, they're talking, they're having a conversation. So like that, and I use a lot of squares. I'm going to use squares. I can do the circle, but I'm going to use squares. Remember, seats, usually people sit back in the seat, so you want to have them leaning. And let's just say this is a female. I'm still going to use a square. So once I do that, if I'm getting detailed, then I will use my oval, and I'll split it like this. I'll do my thing. The shoulder, but I have, by leaning him or twisting or turning him just a little bit, I will have the, what's it called, Brian? Truth be told, I finished the last video and I just kept on with this one, and I was not tired, but I was losing my words, losing the ability to speak English in the last video, so I still haven't got it back yet. I still have the twisted position, the leaning, it's body language. I can't think of that word right now, to show their posture, because she could be turned toward him just a little bit, you know, talking to him. She could have her hand up, you know, touching his head. It would go down, Brian, and then up. I used to have trouble with that, going up and up. I never realized that your arm goes down. You can't see my arm. A lot of times it goes down. When you reach for something, it still goes down. It's not going to really go up. I used to have trouble with that all the time. So, you know, there it is. Shoulder, you know, the pelvic, the whole thing like that. And then if they're, like I said, they're outside the car, if they're inside the car, you're going to see the pillar, which is going to cut them off. Now, you might want to do that. You might want to just keep them for the inside of the car. So for the time being, I'm just going to have her just kind of like sitting down. She's not touching him. They're not in love anymore. They're going to go get that divorce. So this is the wheel. So this car is square itself. So you want to draw the interior of the car. It's going to be a square somehow. So this is going to be her door. This is going to be the dashboard. And this is going to be the side of the car. Now, that's a start. Back of the car, you can put your back seats in there somewhere. That's a start. You know, you have to work with that square. Now, there are ways I can turn this around. I say, I don't want to do detail. I don't want to do finished drawings. I just want to get you to see so that you can follow, and you can do as well. Now, this is a good position for a conversation. He could be talking, she could be talking, or I could turn it back more to the side like this. Or I can even turn it around whereas she's talking. So let me just ink this real quick. The steering wheel should be probably over here. Let me just ink this. This is a quick, you know, so you can see. Let's just say he's turned, he's looking at her. And little things like that, just gesture, the tilt of the head can actually, even though his head's not tilted, she can tell you, you know, what's going on. He's happy, he's tilting his head, he's happy. You know, she could be like turned all the way to him. Of course, her eyes are open, and, you know, she's happy, and it's a big smile like that. And that way she could be touching him. He's driving. Shoulders are going to kind of be down. So I'm thinking the wheel should have been like right in front of him. And you won't see the wheel because you have that dash that covers your wheel. Again, if you're not sure, please get that kind of perspective. Clothes and wrinkles is his hand. The clothes covers up a multitude of sins. If you don't know how to do something, again, arm is going to go down. and then back up. So we're going to have a little bit of foreshortening right here. I was going to go down and then back up, unless the seat is like way, way, way to the back somewhere. And then you have her, and I leaned her over, so we're going to have her leaning over. She's like, oh, John, I'm so glad we had dinner today and not going to get that divorce. I don't know why I'm drawing the teeth, putting that much detail. So like that, breast, shoulder, maybe she can have her arm lean. It's a summer night. She can have her arm leaning out the door. Her hand down here. And the other shoulder. Maybe she does have her hand on his shoulder. I tell anybody I'm driving with, don't touch me when I'm driving, because, you know, it takes my mind off the road. If something happens and I have to swerve and you touching me, that's just me. That's just me. So, you know, if you ever ride with me, don't. So like I was saying, probably this arm is going to be here. So you won't see this because it covers up. And then, of course, how big is the seat? And remember, it's just a square. It's in that little square. There's the headrest, which is going to be a square. The seat is going to be square. Seat belt, because you want to be safe at all times. It's going to go back there. You can probably see more of the seat headrest over here. Backrest there. Seat belt, you know, the back of the car. You have to say, okay, the middle of the car is right here. So this is probably where the seats will split at. You can see some of that. Depending on the type of the car, you have, you know, your 4-door, since it's not necessarily, since it's 4 seats, there's a 4-door. And then the pillar would not go like that. This goes back, and then you have the roof over here. And when you can't figure that out, that's when you chop that bad boy off right there. You can't. Panels save you a lot of time and energy. So, but the angles, as I say, the angles could be even more. Let me angle it more. Let me show you, give you a different type of, I'm going to use a lot of paper. Let me give you a different type of scene. Let's just say her. She's right here. And let's make her bigger. She's right here and he's right there. Okay, so she is, remember, she's leaning back. This is going to be her body. She's leaning back. Here's the headrest. Here's the seat. So I'm going kind of down because his head is smaller, but I don't want to put his head in completely in front of her. It gives you a whole different kind of look. It's her hair. And the seat, since you're going to see some of this. So realistically, it's going to be like this. This is going to be the center, and you're going to see just a little bit of that side. So if it comes up, it's going to be like this. That box, like that. So her arm is going to be here. Let me see, one breast right here, the other one right here, and the body and the head. Okay, so I want to show just a little bit of this guy here. Just a little bit. I shouldn't have inked it, but what that's going to indicate is the fact that, but without even saying, how's the steering wheel? Steering wheel is this way. This is going to be the whatever. Again, reference his hand on the steering wheel, both hands on the steering wheel. The fact that he is barely peeking out means she is in control of the conversation. He's hiding, maybe because he's mad. I mean, he's not hiding, but as an artist, you're hiding him. Maybe because she's mad at him. You know, that's the first thing you see when you look at this picture is, you know, why can't I see him? Maybe her conversation is more important than his, because she takes center stage. She's so big. Now I can even have, you know, a little shadow on this guy, like, you know, he's not that important because, you know, maybe he's frustrated, or maybe I was gonna say he's frustrated, and you really don't want to see him because, you know, the focus is on her and her anger, without even saying a word. Okay, facial expression. No, you killing that. Facial expression, the tilt of the head. She could be looking this way. She could be, you know, looking like slightly, I lost it. She could be slightly like this way, looking away from him, and he still could be that way, and she could, you know, that way you can give her more of a angrier expression. Still body would be the same. She's turning away from him, and you really can't see him. He's kind of more in the shadow, but you know he's back there. He's driving. So just little things like that. Positioning, size. You know, I'll make this guy bigger, this guy smaller. Can convey a message. If I have a guy, let me turn this one over because I don't want to waste this one. If I have a guy right right here, and then I have another guy way down here, which one is more important? And here's my ground. You gotta have them on the same piece of property, real estate. Which one is more important? You know, now I can have this guy, again, he could be leaned over like, there are reasons why you lean over. You lean over because you're looking down, and lean over because you're tired, lean over because you can't fit into something. But then your head, how's your head going to be? You know, he's in the open, so he's not ducking down, and his arms could be like this. His knees could be buckling like that. That means he's worn out. Now, if I get this guy the triumphant stand, he would be more important than this guy. He still would be important, but this guy back here would be more important because he's beat down. Now, let's say, how would I know that he is beat down? Let's get a little bit of detail to this, just a little bit. Extra little telltale signs that this guy is like beat down would be, as soon as I get this, like, okay, just basic, you know, torn clothes. Clothes could be torn up. They could be, you know, just rubble everywhere because there was a big fight. You know, when the ground broke or breaks or something, he could be in a room, and there could be furniture just, you know, just tore up on the ground. These little details can tell you that what happened, tells you a lot about the story. And since this guy is like, got his hands up, he's triumphant, you would know he beat this guy down. Just by the posture, just by the way that you position the people. So again, this is going to be perspective, just going back in perspective. Because you got this guy, and this guy's going way back. He could be this way, type perspective like that. That could be your vanishing point. So these guys are standing on your eye line. Don't let me forget to do eye lines, because that's important when you start drawing. So in this one, I would say I would put the eye line right about here, right about under her chin. Now, I lifted his chin up because he's a little more taller than her. And then the neck and so forth. So you would just start to see above or the top of her shoulders, which means you would bring this down, because when you look at someone, using this again, when you're looking down at someone, the collarbone goes down as well. When you're looking up at someone like this, the collarbone stays straight like that. And the more up he is, the more of a curve you can actually put on the collarbone. And you really won't see too much shoulder unless he's got, like, you know, really great shoulders. So 24 minutes, 55 seconds. It all depends on the turning of the person, the angle, I'm not gonna say lighting, because that's just a little more icing on the cake. If I did, like, you know, a lot of shadow, you can tell if it was like during the day or the nighttime. I mean, they could be going under a bridge. You don't know. You don't know. But usually dark means moody. She's really moody, and you know, you can have the under her eyes, you know, just the shadow there and shadow wherever else to add to that mood. All right, so the thing is, when you draw a scene, regardless of what that scene is, let's see if I can get all three of these guys. This was, yeah. Regardless of what that scene is, you have to see it in your head. Okay, this guy's gonna be driving. You're gonna have to figure out what angle you're gonna draw it from that will best show how or what the scene is about. You know, if this guy, you know, if he's singing, I would have a better expression, and you can have the what is it? Some of the music symbols, you know, coming out from the radio, and then, you know, the guy saying, if there are no words to it and no dialogue to it. What was I gonna say something else? I don't know, but it's about the best angle that you can get. You know, you can tell that these two are completely different. You know, I don't have to have words. I can put any kind of words that I want in there, but you know that, oh, she's not happy with whoever this guy is because I darkened it. You don't know who it is. She can say, you know, I'm sick of this John. Well, we don't know who John is, but you can find out who John is later in the next panel if you're doing comic books. But if you're just doing something to advertise something, you know, some people might want to be do storyboards, which is basically almost the same as comics. Some people might just want to get into advertising, or, you know, it doesn't have to do comics, but by drawing comics, you are able to do just about anything, because when you draw comic books, you're drawing people, you're drawing clothes, you're drawing expressions, you're drawing animals, you're drawing vehicles, you're drawing houses and cities and furniture. You're just doing so much in one thing versus just, I'm just going to draw dogs all day, or just draw animals all day, you know, just draw faces all day. You know, I've seen people websites who have just draw faces. I mean, they're beautiful, beautiful faces, but you say, okay, I want to see what that person looked like when he's boxing, you know, against somebody else, and a bunch of people are in the ring. I mean, a bunch of people in the audience watching them in the ring. They're like, well, I don't know how to do that. I would rather learn how to do all this, and I can encompass that just one day, drawing a face one day, than just, you know, sticking to, you know, just drawing the same thing over and over every day, just, you know, tweaking it a little bit. So that's why I like comics. I don't know about anybody else, but that's why I like comics. So 28 minutes, 46 seconds. I'm going to end it here. And I think I'm going to move on to the next scene, because it's not about just drawing cards. It's about doing scenes. I don't want like 3 and 4 videos on the same scene. Maybe 2, maybe 3 the most. So in putting it all together, see it in your head. Have somebody driving a car. Is he with somebody? Is he by himself? What happened? You know, did he have a bad day? Even if you don't draw, even if there's no dialogue, you say to yourself, he just got fired. Okay, so he's not going to be happy. He's going to be tensed up. He's going to be, you know, maybe leaning over the wheel in a rush. You know, he might be mad because he's in traffic. You got to see all that first, and then you think about the body language. Okay, so how would I, if I'm mad, how I'm going to lean? I'm going to lean way over and hold both of the wheels. I'm not going to be just one hand, just, you know, drive and chill. I'm going to be mad. My hands might be close together. My fist might be even clenched even more. So if that's the case, I would have did like a close-up. Let me get a bigger brush. I would have done more of a close-up of a, you know, the hand being clenched. And then you could see, you know, like I would draw more detail to the knuckles. because it's just clenched, and then he would have been just just like and you say, okay, this guy is like, he's not happy because of something, so, and then I say, if it's like a caption, just got fired, just got a speeding ticket, it fits. If you don't need a caption, you'll still say something's wrong with that guy. His fists are clenched, his hands are, right at the wheel. He could be like fuming. There's just icing on the cake. So these little things make up for a better scene. So, all right. So next week we're gonna work on another scene. I had a list of scenes, just basic scenes, but I don't know which one I'm gonna go with next week. But thank you for joining me, and I said it last week, draw for fun. If you lose that fun, get it back or find something else that's fun. Don't just draw out of whatever. I want to make money, so I'm just going to draw this. No, it's gotta be fun. You have to enjoy whatever you do. If it just makes you miserable, find something else. I don't care if you're making $200,000 a year. You're not having fun doing it. You're stressing yourself. You're causing yourself harm physically, mentally, whatever. Find something fun. Keep drawing. Draw for fun. I'll see you guys in the next video.